All right, we are live right now. My name is Naomi Tran, and I'm very excited to share about our transfer process, our benefits and strategies. We are just going to wait maybe a couple of more seconds just to give you guys a heads up. We have a whole big panel today with us. We have Terry Budarak from Saddleback Community College. We have Travis Fuller at UCLA. Fatima Mendoza, she is our student, a panel guest who is at Laverne University. And then we also have Paige Jones from University of Oregon. So we're going to just hang on tight for maybe one more minute and then we will go ahead and get started. If you guys...
I need to leave just for 1 second to let people know that I'm doing this.
Sure. Thanks, Terry. And then, if you guys can hear me, you go ahead and, say hi in the chat box. Okay, perfect.
Okay, I'm back on.
All right, thanks, Terry. Let me see. Oh, the sticky note, Jen, I couldn't get you in there.
I'm going to re-stick it up there.
Okay, thank you. All right, everyone can hear me. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Just to give you guys a heads up, we had a little technical difficulties, but Terry, our Saddleback counselor, is on the phone with us. So just let me know that you guys can hear her. Terry, go ahead and say hello to our guest tonight.
Hi, this is Terry from Saddleback College. Hi, Travis and Paige and Fatima.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So again, my name is Naomi Tran, and we will be going over just the process, the benefits, and strategies to be successful in the journey from going to a 2-year to a 4-year university. We have tons to share with you guys, and I will plan to email you guys the presentation as the additional resources sometime tomorrow. So don't feel like you have to write every single thing down or save every screenshot. All right. If this is your first time chiming in with us with a Futureology event, I want to briefly let you guys know who we are and what we do. Futureology is part of Capistrano Unified School District, where we provide group workshops as well as one-on-one appointments to our high school families. Our main office is located at the Shops of Mission Viejo, and we are also all over the school campuses. We're doing workshops, we're doing presentations as well. On top of that, we do have tons of webinars like tonight as well as tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, we actually have a stress-free summer at 6 p.m. if you guys want to join. And you can always log on. Oops, can I actually have you guys hide your cameras to show our website? I'm going to hide mine too. So that is our website. You guys can go ahead and check us out by going to our website as well as looking at our past webinars there. Okay, so here is our agenda tonight. We will spend some time reviewing the community college transfer process, as I do believe it is a really great way to prepare for college. This topic is actually really special to me because I actually started at Saddleback College before I transferred to Cal State Long Beach. Although I was able to transfer within 2 years, I honestly wish I knew all of this stuff when I was in high school, knowing about the transfer process, the possible pathways, as well as the so many supportive programs community colleges have to offer. I think I would have been a less stressful student and someone who was more confident and just had more fun with the college life. But thankfully, you guys have time. You guys have me as well as a great panel to share more about that process and the strategies tonight. All I ask is that you guys do ask your questions in the chat box. Also mark it with the question mark symbol so we know it is a question. I do have our counselor, Jennifer. She might be answering some of your questions, so just giving you a heads up. If I'm not able to answer the questions or we're not able to answer the questions during the presentation, we will leave it towards the end. So just out of curiosity, we want to know who is in the pool right now, or who is in our audience. So I'm going to run a poll. It's going to ask you guys what grade level you guys are in. So go ahead and let me know. If you are a parent, let me know what grade level your student is in right now. Awesome. We have a lot of juniors, we have a lot of seniors, and a couple sophomores. So that's awesome. Great. Thank you. All right. So hello again. Okay, great. So now that we know who is in our audience, we're going to go ahead and say hello to our guest panel. You guys can go ahead and turn on your cameras again just for a little bit. Thank you. So in our guest panel, like I said, we have Terry Budorak, our transfer counselor from Saddleback College. You guys can't see her on the screen right now, but she is on my phone and you guys can hear her. We have Travis Fuller. Travis, can you go ahead and say hi and where you're from?
Hello, folks. My name is Travis Fuller. I'm an assistant director of admission at UCLA. I'm from Mission Viejo, California. I'm very familiar with the process of transferring to UCLA and also the UC system.
Awesome. Thank you. Go ahead, Fatima. You want to sort of introduce yourself real quick? Oh, your mic is on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello, everybody. My name is Fatima Mendoza, and I am a grad student at the University of Laverne. And I, too, was a transfer student. I went to community college at IVC, and then I transferred to Cal State Fullerton.
Awesome. Thank you. Paige, do you want to say hello?
Hi, guys. My name is Paige Jones. I was a student at Saddleback College for a year and a half, and I just transferred to the University of Oregon in January.
Awesome. Thank you. And then again, one more time, Terry, can you go ahead and tell everyone who you are?
Hi, my name is Terry Butorik, and I'm a transfer counselor at Saddleback College. I work in the transfer center.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. And just to give you guys a heads up, Terry will have to leave at 6 p.m., but the rest of us will be here and we'll plan to stay around 6:45 tonight. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Why consider the community college route? I think, regardless of your academic, your career, or financial situation, you're going to find there's a lot of benefits to community college. I think a big one is save money. Community college costs way less than a university, whether that's a public or a private school. This was a huge plus for my parents when I decided on which pathway to take. In my family household at the time, there were 5 girls, and we were roughly 2 to 3 years apart, so financial fit was very important to us. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my cameras if you guys can do that as well. Sorry, just so that everyone can see that screen. And you can see, you could save so much money, and I know a lot of families out there want to do that as well. This graph shows you guys the estimate costs per year. As you can see, it can jump for 5 to 10 times higher for a Cal State school or even a UC. And that doesn't even include room and board. So if you want to actually live on campus, it could be an added additional cost. With this slide over here, you also can see with private schools, it can really add up with tuition fees too. For example, if you look at Caesar, he saved a ton of money transferring from a UC after 2 years versus attending all 4 years. If he attended all 4 years, it would have cost him over $200,000. And you can see Lori and Miriam, they also transferred out of a community college and saved a ton as well. I just really liked this graph, and I wanted to show you guys so you could see a clear picture of what it would look like in terms of costs if you plan to transfer and how much you could save. I think regardless of where you want to end up, you just want to make sure that your family have plenty of conversations about your financial budget and compare costs of all your schools you're considering in order to find the best overall match for you in terms of academic, social, and financial fit. Another reason you guys should consider the community college route if you're unsure of what you want to do is if you're unsure of what you want to do. Not everyone knows what they want to do after high school. I did not know what I wanted to do after high school. And so it's a really great place where you can learn and try many different opportunities and pathways to be career ready without breaking your bank account. For example, Saddleback College has over 84 certificates and over 125 associate's degrees. Also, attending a community college not only gives students the opportunity to earn college credit and be work ready, but it gives students more time to select a four-year institution that is right for them. For me, since I didn't know what I wanted to do in high school, I actually took the opportunity to take my general education classes and a career counseling course at Saddleback my first semester, which then actually helped me learn about what area I wanted to focus on in terms of my career. I learned that I really liked working in education. I really liked working with children. And from there, I was able to work with a counselor to create a transfer plan to schools, to plan or create a plan that actually finds schools that had programs in child development and family life education. So like community,
Naomi,
yes.
I think it was good that you pointed out the counseling class. I think that is a really important part that the community college does. We have multiple counseling classes that help people find their way, just like you did when you came here. It's a very beneficial course, and it's a little different than what I think is offered at the high school level. They really go in depth. I mean, it's usually a 3-unit class.
Yeah.
I think that's important to know.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I would agree too. Futureology, we have career exploration workshops, but it is only an hour and a half. It does not go into depth. And so this is one of the things that we definitely want to talk about. I know that Saddleback College has an associate's in art or a science transfer degree as an option to help students take the right courses in order to meet requirements. Do you mind just sort of, telling a little bit about what that is for our families?
I think what's important about the associate degree for transfer is that the student who is planning on going to the Cal State and majoring in the same degree when they're transferring will get a bump up of a 0.1 in their GPA. So if they've had kind of a rocky start here at the beginning, because it is a pretty big adjustment for some students, that they can get a little bump up in their GPA to be a little bit more competitive.
Okay.
And it also helps students, even the students who are planning on going to the UC, it shows them some of the coursework that they're going to need to take for their major prep for those UC schools also.
Okay, great. Thank you. And we are definitely going to be going over the options and the pathways as well as the special programs too. So in this next slide right over here, just to help Terry out to see where we're at. So we're on the transfer options and pathways. Again, community colleges will help students transfer into whatever pathway they want to go into. So within the UC route, the Cal State, private schools like USC and Chapman. Chapman is actually my alumni for a master's program. And then also out-of-state schools like Arizona State. Paige went to University of Oregon. So again, we're going to be going through all of those specific programs as well as the requirements. Okay. So continuing on the next slide, and I'm sure the big reason why you guys are here is knowing your chances and how to increase your chances of getting into some of your dream colleges. Students who plan to transfer have a higher chance of transferring to their dream college, aka their hard to reach colleges. Right now, many of those schools are within like the UCs and the Cal State systems. And I know that many of our CUSD students genuinely want that as an option for them, but it's been a reach due to the low acceptance rate for freshman admission. However, for transfer students, they have a higher chance with the UCs and the Cal States or other highly selective schools. As you can see on this graph, the admissions rate really differs for transfer students compared to freshman admits. For example, UC Davis admits 65% of their transfer students and only 36% of their freshman students that apply. And same goes for the UC Santa Barbara. On average, they accept 59% of their transfer students and only 32% of their freshman students. That's a huge difference. And on average, and Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that transfer students typically have a 25 to 50% chance higher of getting into a 4-year university compared to when he or she is applying as a freshman.
I don't know what the actual stats are, but it is definitely higher, and they have a lot of other options, especially for the UCs, which I'm sure you're going to go into,
Yeah.
with the tag that pretty much guarantees if you meet the criteria and the major prep and the GPA, you're definitely into some of those schools that may have been out of reach for you as far as your GPA or whatever your application wasn't maybe as strong. It's just so competitive. I just had a student the other day who came in who had a 4.7 GPA and did not get into any of the highly competitive UCs.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so I mean, go ahead.
So it does make it possible to get into your dream school.
Yeah, thank you.
Going through the community college.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much into this, but Travis, was there anything that you wanted to share in terms of why students have a higher chance of just getting into a UC over high school freshman students?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's several reasons for why it's less competitive for transfer students in terms of, I mean, I can only speak for UCLA, but for UCLA, we receive less transfer applications than we would for entry as a freshman. For freshman students, it's over 100,000. For transfer students, it's a little over 20,000. And the UC system prioritizes transfer students. So 1 in 3 students at our campus have to be transfer students. So that makes our admission for transfer students a little less rigorous. And then, of course, we have a TAP program or Transfer Alliance program, which I believe we'll go into a little later.
Yeah, we're going to go over it next. Thank you. We just have a quick question from Tyler. Does your major into college affect your chance of transferring over and under another student?
Yes, Tyler, it definitely does. So some majors are more selective than others, and that's something that you have to be cognizant of when you are applying as a transfer student.
Yeah, and I actually do. I don't know if I have it on our PowerPoint slide, but I definitely will show you guys a site for the UCs. But that's a really good question. We'll get into that. Okay. Thank you, Travis. So I know, so yeah, the stats for the UC transfer admission rates look awesome, but I want to just make a note, and we say this in our Futureology presentations and workshops all the time. Just like when you're reviewing your financial fit with your family, it's also important to take the time to review all of your pathways and decide what colleges might be the best match for you. You know, again, ask yourself, what colleges will help me pursue my personal or career plans? You know, what should that look like? This should be your first and most important step while you're in high school and in your first year of community college. Again, that means to research and figure out what you need in a school that fits with you in your academic, your social, and your financial fit, because all institutions are going to be different. The location, campus vibe, price, scholarships, available majors, and even co-op programs are examples that you should consider when you narrow down a school that best fits you. If your only goal is to simply to enroll in a college with a bigger name recognition, you might want to reconsider. Students who don't do their research might end up going to a school that might not meet their expectations, which then in the end, students end up dropping out their first year and delaying their journey. And I know Paige, when we talked, she actually shared about the example of how her classmates dropped, their second quarter. According to College Atlas, they found that 30% of their freshman college students dropped out their first year. So to avoid that, start getting to know yourself and the colleges that are out there. I personally like to use College Board search tool, and that helps you guys to research, compare what each college has to offer, and it'll even show you their most recent freshmen as well as transfer admission rates and requirements for the school. I won't have time to go through the tool right now, but definitely save this as a tool for yourself and play with it later on. Again, other ways for you guys to get to know your school is just getting comfortable talking to prospective colleges like you're doing right now with Terry and Travis. The sooner that you guys know what college and area of study you want to go into, the earlier you guys can transfer and plan a plan with a counselor to ensure you're taking the right classes to transfer into the college that you guys want to go into. All right. So another strategy as I mentioned earlier, again, it's getting to know yourself and your future goals. Again, ask yourself, why do you guys want to go to college? What is it that you guys want to study or major in? I think figuring out your academic plan early is another important strategy to help you guys transfer successfully. When you guys know what you want to major in or study, you're able to take your correct classes and be able to transfer right away. Unlike freshman admits, students transferring out of a community college must declare a major before applying to most schools. So that means you don't want to wait too long to complete your majority of your major prep courses. Terry, can you give us some insight about just major preparation and what students might expect when they're meeting with a Saddleback counselor for their first time?
Well, once the students decided what major that they're planning on transferring to, I know you're going to be going into this very shortly about the assist.org, but we look at what the Cal States and the UCs have decided is important for the student to finish before they transfer, and in some cases, many times, it's mandatory for them to have them completed before they transfer. So we look at that, and we have an online mapping system and they're my site that they or the counselor can look at and decide which courses should be taken at which time and which order they need to be done in, so that they complete them before they transfer. So that means they have to be completed by the last semester, and summer does not count.
Okay, thank you. And can you share actually about assist.org? I would share too, but I wanted to just have you talk about it as well.
So that's a very important website for us as counselors, and also for the students to compare and look at different schools that have the program that they're interested in transferring into, and just see what's required of each school. Now, there's a lot of similarities between each of the programs. Say you're a psychology major, and you may need to take Psych 1 or a stats class or something like that. But some schools require a little bit more, depending on the focus of that major at that school. And you may have to take more math or more science for that particular major at that particular school. So it's just really important for the student to be able to compare and just see which school is a good fit for the type of program that they're interested in.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. And that leads really into getting familiar with the transfer requirements. So in this slide right here, you guys can see what UC's, Cal State's private and out-of-state schools would look like, or what they're looking for in a transfer student. And again, colleges have different policies, but typically they expect a student to acquire a minimum number of college credits as well as maintain a certain GPA. For example, UCs and Cal States are going to ask for 60 transferable units, whereas some are going to, private schools like Arizona State will only need 30. So private and out-of-state schools, they vary so much that it is so important for you guys to check in with the institution so that you would know what they need in order for you guys to transfer on time. So right now, I'm going to actually have Terry share more about each of the pathways in the next slide. And Terry, I'm going to go ahead and, since you can't click on the button, I will click on the slides for you. So just let me know when I can transition for you. So the first slide will be just going over the UC requirements.
So the UC
I'm sorry.
is,
Actually, the next one is the that circle graph of what your freshman and your sophomore years would look like at a community college.
Oh, okay. Is that the one that says bachelor's degree courses?
Yeah. I wanted to sort of show, what it would actually look like when you are actually at a community college your first 2 years, and then what happens when you transfer.
So it is a combination of your general education, which is required of most students, and I say that because students who have high units because they're in a STEM major or they're a pre-med, they may not have to complete all the GEs. There's a 7-course GE pattern that they follow, so it's a little different. That's why it's important to come in to see a counselor.
Mhm.
But most students will finish their GE pattern depending on the school that they go to. So there's 2 different GE patterns depending on if you're going to a UC or a Cal State. And then a lot of privates will take both those GE patterns in addition. Then after that, you would have your major prep. And then if you have any more room to meet your 60 units, you would add in any elective. They could be anything that you're interested in or maybe would support your major that you're going into.
Okay, great.
You also get your college AP credits to add into that amount of total 60 units. So that does help you finish a little faster, or at least maybe your course load is not as heavy.
Okay.
And that would equal the 60 units. And then when you transfer, you also have to have 60 units to graduate from that school. So they take up to 70 units, the UCs and the CSUs, towards your graduation.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so we're going to go into the next slide with the IGETC. Do you want to go ahead and share what the IGETC is, the pathway for that one?
Okay, the IGETC pathway is a GE pattern that works for both the UCs and the Cal States, and that usually is for a student who's not quite sure what schools that they're going to apply to. So that's really the best pathway to take if you're not sure excuse me, what school you would apply to.
Okay.
So it has basically 6 areas that you need to fulfill if you're going to transfer. And one of them is one that is only necessary if you're transferring to Cal State. That would be the oral communication.
Okay.
But other than that, and also the language requirement is the UC requirement, which can also be fulfilled through your 2 years of high school language if you had received a C or better.
Okay.
If not, then you would need to take a language here at Saddleback.
Okay, great. Thank you.
But,
Yeah, that makes sense. So I think I was just showing them the IGETC pattern that was a little bit easier to read in terms of the units. I'm going to actually ask Travis if there was anything else that you wanted to add in terms of the IGETC. I think Terry did a good job at covering it.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I would add is that, at least for UCLA, a lot of students are under the misconception that it is a requirement for admission.
Okay.
It isn't, unless you're applying to a specialty school, but it is nevertheless very helpful because it will expedite your time at the UC and make it easier to graduate on time.
Okay, great. Thank you. And so I think these were other courses that they would recommend in terms of the UC 7 course pattern. Like Terry had mentioned, if you're only following the Cal State pattern, that's another pathway. But Terry, correct me if I'm wrong. If you do this Cal State GE pattern, then it could possibly eliminate you for UCs.
yes, it would definitely. Okay. You would not be following the correct pattern, GE pattern that you would need for the UC. So we always really recommend, unless someone is definitely not applying to a UC, to follow the IGETC pattern.
Okay, great.
And then you're covered.
Yeah, and I think with the Cal States, we wanted to highlight the golden 4. So in that gold box, those are the recommended courses that you want to try to take as early as possible. So communications 1 or 3, writing, critical thinking, and transferable math. All right.
Yes, those are really important to finish. If you're missing one of those or don't pass one, especially typically, a lot of people have difficulty sometimes with the transferable math. You will be denied admission even if you've been offered an admission offer. If you, for some reason,
for the Cal State schools.
So,
okay.
So that's why we like the students to take it early on, because if for some reason they don't pass, they have the opportunity to take it again, and you can repeat it, and then it's as if that grade never existed in your GPA.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Great. Thank you. Okay, so let's see. What we have Lisa asking, what is considered a transferable math?
It depends on the school, but usually it's for a non-STEM major, it would be a statistics or a college algebra course. If you're doing a major in, say, bio or engineering, you would probably take a higher level math, and that would still count like a calculus.
Yeah. I think it'll be important that, again, using assist.org, especially for the UC and the Cal States, to look at your major to see what math they are looking for, and that's what's going to be considerable as transferable math. So it just depends on the major, Lisa. Doug, this presentation will be downloadable. I will plan to email you guys the PDF, as well as the other files that I plan on sharing with you guys today. Okay, thank you, Terry. Okay, so moving on, just private colleges. We talked a little bit about it. Again, they have their own criteria and their requirements. So, you know, California private schools as well as out-of-state private schools, they'll follow their own general education pattern, or sometimes with the California schools, they'll follow the IGETC pattern. And they also vary within transferable units, but I think it's just important to check in with them. So I was just doing my little fun research, and I found out Scripps College welcomes, you know, transfer students for freshman, sophomore, and junior status. However, they do recommend those that are transferring from a community college to really follow the IGETC pattern. So they try to make it self-explanatory to you. It's just a matter of actually reaching out to them. And on this link, it says that Saddleback has some helpful links to go into transfer schools as well. Yeah.
And so it is really important to reach out to the school that you're thinking about transferring, and reach out to a counselor that helps students with that, because they can go over anything that you're not clear about.
Mm-hmm.
We know information about quite a few schools, but not every single major.
Yeah, there's so many schools that are out there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But they really want transfer students at these other universities, so they're definitely willing to help you find your path.
Awesome, thank you. I think this is our last slide with you, Terry. Just in terms of out-of-state schools, again, like it looks like with private schools, they follow their own pattern. They want lower division major prep courses. So again, checking out their website. Again, when I told you guys about the Big Future College Search tool, this is actually what I grabbed from them with University of Oregon. And I just thought it, Terry, unless you have any tips about out-of-state schools, I think that's pretty much it for you. And otherwise, I'll have Paige talk about what she found out about University of Oregon in terms of their transfer requirements.
Last thing I want to say is that if you have any students out there who are interested in using the community college as a pathway to get to a university, please come in to the transfer center.
Okay.
We are experts, and if we don't know it, we can find out the information for you so it's clear for you. And we get the first information coming in from the universities about any changes that are happening.
Oh, perfect. Great. And I have a whole slide for you guys at the end of the presentation about all of the services that a transfer center has to offer. Thank you so much, Terry, for being on here. Okay. We're all still going to stay on. Thank you, Terry.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye. Okay, sorry, Paige. Can you actually just talk a little bit about what you learned with University of Oregon?
Yeah, so basically, I just kind of was doing my own, like, along with going to the transfer center at Saddleback, I was doing a lot of research on my own and found that, like, in-state schools were a lot harder, because then you're kind of adjusting to community college. You don't, sorry, I lost my thought. But anyways, when I was looking at both the in-state and out-of-state, I just found that, University of Oregon and a lot of other out of states offered or took in more credits. So they pretty much accepted all of my credits except for one class. But with the UCs and Cal States, it was very much more like, you know, I was looking into USC and it was like, you can't have any withdrawal classes, you can't have any failed classes. But, you know, when you're at the community college, it's definitely a learning experience. You're getting used to the college upper level class, like class loads and stuff.
Okay.
So I think that with, for me, out of states were more desirable because they kind of, you know, I feel like they understood more that, like they would take more of your credits.
Okay. And I think, yeah, thank you, Paige, for that. And I think, again, it'll just depend on your goals and your plans and what you are looking for in a school. So thank you, Paige. I'll definitely ask more questions towards the end about your experience because I'm sure everyone wants to know more.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, like Terry and said, there are a lot of programs that are out there that'll help students to really increase their chances into getting into some highly selective schools. Most community colleges will have these programs, but just to avoid confusion, I'll just be referring to what Saddleback and Irvine Valley College have to offer on their campuses. So the first one is the UC tag. This is really awesome if you guys really want to consider the UC schools. It's a special transfer admission guarantee program between the UCs and California community colleges. When students want to participate in this program, students will be offered an admission guarantee to one of the participating UCs that are listed here. They'll get into either their major or receive pre-major status. So you got UC Riverside, UC Santa Barbara, UC Santa Cruz, UC Davis, UCI, and UC Merced. And within these campuses, some will review your application earlier. I believe UC Santa Barbara will do that as well, and then give you guidance for your major prep and GE. But the side note on this is that students can only tag one UC to receive admission guarantee. You're able to apply to as many UCs, but you will only be able to tag one that you want admission guarantee for. Travis, is it okay if you wanted to share a little bit more about the UC tag program for us?
Sure. I mean, at least with respect to 3 institutions, it isn't a program that is relevant. So just be aware of that. As the slide articulates, there's 6 campuses that participate in the guarantee. And again, it's essentially an option for students who are especially interested in a particular UC campus to guarantee a spot, assuming they complete all of the different academic requirements in the contract that they sign.
Yeah, and in this next slide, our Irvine Valley Community Transfer Counselor, he gave me this awesome tool or to review, the UCs, what majors they exclude. So just make sure that you go ahead and look into that. So for example, with, UC Santa Cruz, they don't exclude any major. You can tag it without any issues. Well as with UC Riverside, they will exclude the art studio major for the tag program. So this, Travis, does this change year by year by any chance? Do you happen to know that?
I know at UCLA with respect to our Transfer Alliance program, it does change depending on how selective a major becomes. So yes, it can. Okay,
thank you. And pretty much what we're going to go over what the UCLA Transfer Alliance program is, and that is a part of the honors program that Saddleback and Irvine or any community college has to offer. The honors program It really helps students who participated increase their chances in getting to the most selective colleges like UCLA and UC Irvine. It is a cross-disciplinary program where students are taking specific classes that provide enhanced preparation for upper division work in all of their majors. I believe these classes are challenging, but students in this program, they do get priority registration for their classes. They get smaller class sizes and enriched coursework. So that means, more intimate attention with like their professors. They have a designated counselor and some scholarships, as well as access to research opportunities. So if you love, challenging yourself academically, this is a really great way to go. This program, again, is strongly looked upon by a lot of highly selective competitive schools. Travis, can you actually go ahead and share more about the Honors Program and the Transfer Alliance Program?
Yeah, so the Transfer Alliance Program is specific to UCLA, and it essentially entails completing what consists of the Honors Program at Irvine Valley College or Saddleback College or any community college that you attend. It's 5 or 6 courses, largely based in the humanities and writing and research. And assuming you complete those courses, you become what we call TAP certified. And that entails numerous benefits on you, the most important of which are that you're given priority in our admission consideration process. So for especially competitive majors like business economics or economics, it's a distinguishing factor between applicants who have a similar GPA and similar qualifications as you do. And then the additional benefit in terms of academics is that you're also given the option of electing to apply for an alternate major if you're not, for whatever reason, admitted to your primary major. There are caveats with that, which I won't get into at this juncture, but that is why the admission rate is so high, is because we prioritize these students and they also are given the option of applying to a second major.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah. And I wanted to share this data with you guys in terms with Irvine Valley and Saddleback. So you guys can see 95% of honor students at Irvine Valley got admitted to UCI and 81% were admitted to UCLA. Saddleback, they just gave me their data and it was 98% of their honor students were accepted as transfer students to UCLA, which is really huge. So this is a great way if that is something, if UCLA or UCI have been on your mind for some time. Great. Thank you for that, Travis. Okay. So again, remember, colleges and universities other than the UC campuses consider the value of the honors coursework in their evaluations. I just actually filed to share with you guys about the Saddleback Honors Program. If you guys didn't get it, again, I'll email it to you, but hopefully you guys could check that out in detail. Here are just some examples of the other colleges that have honors transfer agreements. So again, honors transfer privileges will vary from school to school, but even still, you can see honors will be recognized by many institutions even without explicit partnerships. All right. So we're transitioning a little bit to another program that Terry had talked about earlier. Is the Associate Degree for Transfer. And it is just, a new breed where you take this track in making sure that you are taking the Cal State transfer requirement courses with the selected major. They do give you a guaranteed admission if you plan to complete this track, but not necessarily to a particular campus or major. So they give you priority consideration if you follow this track. For more information about this one, you can go either to adegreewithaguarantee.com, and here are the minimum requirements for that. And again, for more questions, if you're curious about this track, talking to a transfer counselor. I know I talked a lot about all of these programs, and you're not expected to know every single requirement or every single process right away, but the goal is for you guys to just get familiar with it and to know what might be the best track for you so you can get more information and start creating a plan for yourself. Okay. So another program, since we took a poll and there were a lot of juniors right now, this program is for you guys. If you guys, again, are a junior, you're rising senior, and you know community college is the right path for you, consider the Saddleback Promise Program. It's been around for almost 1 year now, but those that are eligible can get 1 year waived enrollment fees at Saddleback College, including registration fees and books. I'm going to actually go ahead and file share that with you guys. Okay. And in the chat box, let me know if you guys did or did not get it, just because I'm curious. I've never used this file share before. So Saddleback Promise Program. Okay, sharing it right now. This Promise Program at Saddleback, it starts during your senior year at high school, where students start working on their college application at Saddleback, and they are required to complete a semester of a Saddleback Counseling 100 course to be eligible. And again, it's a really great way to get financial and academic support in this Counseling 100 class. Right now, our seniors, they would take it during their spring semester of their senior year. And it goes over just about the resources at a community college and helping them navigate, first year of college. If you're not sure if you want to go to Saddleback, there are other California community college that actually have the Promise programs too. The size and the scope and the structure of these programs vary, but they all in the end aim to help students get the education without having an unmanageable student debt. So Irvine Valley, OCC, Cerritos, Long Beach, they all have this Promise program as well. Okay, got it. Yay, I'm so glad you guys received it. Okay. So yeah, this is something that is really awesome to consider. And a transfer tip for this is just, make sure that you guys read the eligibility requirements so you don't miss the deadlines, and check this out as early as your freshman year if I have any freshmen. High school students, you guys can go ahead and talk to your academic advisor about this so they're fully aware of it, and your Saddleback counselor too. If you guys did not know, you guys have a Saddleback counselor on your high school campus right now, and some are there twice or 3 times a week. So take advantage of meeting with them. So you guys have so much access to meeting with different types of counselors in high school. So it's really awesome that you guys have that. All righty. So again, here are just other programs that we talked about and more. There are other transfer programs to specific majors, to your specific major or profession, like the Bridge to Engineering, Teacher Preparation Program. The point of this is just to let you guys know that there are additional programs that we might not have even heard of. So the point is, talk to a counselor. If you're like, I want to be a teacher, is there a special program that can help me increase my chances of getting in? I'm sure there is one for you. Again, it'll vary between different community colleges. We have over 114 California community colleges. So talk to those college admission officers. We have a college fair October 7th where we're going to have some community college admission officers. So that's also a great way to just hear about different kinds of programs that they have to offer that are different between the two. So just to give you guys a heads up on that. All right, we're at a little bit of a closing for some more strategies. Learning about the community college program early is a great strategy. That's why I wanted to share it with you guys. And now you guys know a good amount of them. Here are just other things that I want you guys to consider as well. So we're going to recap just because I want to emphasize some of them again because it's that important. So again, remember, take the time to research your schools and majors that will best fit you and your goals. Again, we have a college fair October 7th to check out. If you guys don't know what you guys want to do, again, senior year, you could take a career in a counseling exploration course, counseling 100 as an option for yourself, or taking something during your first year of college. Like Terry had said, it is a semester long. It goes a lot more in depth than just doing a simple workshop. When you guys get into a community college, make sure that you create a transfer plan with your college counselor early. What I like about Saddleback College, whether you want to get a college certificate, a 2-year degree, or just want to transfer to a 4-year university, Saddleback College requires that you complete a comprehensive map called My Academic Plan, approved by a counselor before you guys could even register for your classes. So again, mapping your plan early, it's okay to make those adjustments, but just creating something soon. The next strategy is taking your math and English class in your first year if you guys can. I think, like I said, making sure that you guys check in your major using assist.org to see what transferable math you're going to need. And if this is not your strong suit, take advantage of continue by doing it in high school. And getting tutoring. Don't be afraid to use academic support on your campuses. Otherwise, it could delay, your time to transfer, because your grades are going to matter in college. You want to try to get the highest or your best GPA as possible at your community college, because where you apply, that's what they're going to want to see. They want to see if you're a strong academic student. How can you ensure you can maintain a high GPA? Make sure that you guys have a balanced schedule and are realistic about your timeline. Don't try to overdo your workload. So for example, when I started at Saddleback, I started full-time with 12 units. That's what a typical full-time student would have, 12 units. And as I got more comfortable with my classes, I did add additional classes in my schedule the following semester, because I had a better idea of the amount of time I needed to study per class and per unit. And I also took advantage of summer school so that I didn't cram everything all within fall and spring semester. For 8 and 9, pay attention to deadlines. That's going to be a big one, and it's going to be a lot more strict than your high school. You guys won't have me to remind you, so make sure that you guys, look at your emails, check your emails, put it on your calendar for your deadlines, and complete your FAFSA every single year. We already talked about all the programs that give you a competitive edge, so again, take advantage of them if you can. And continue asking questions and use campuses as your resource. Don't do all of this by yourself and be alone. And also get involved with extracurriculars. I think joining clubs and being involved at Saddleback College is going to be important. I'm going to have Travis talk about it a little bit later, but it's, UC schools, private schools, even Cal Poly SLO are going to ask about your extracurriculars, even as a transfer student. So you want to still be involved with, interests, clubs, anything that's going to be related to your career plans. And of course, work hard and enjoy school. All right. So yeah, like Terry also said, you're not alone in all of this, and community colleges have a whole center for you guys. And this center is for you guys to, ask your questions. They do take on appointments. They'll do drop-ins. They do workshops just like what we do too, talking about the application process, talking about the special programs, and they'll even bring in campus representatives on campus. So all throughout fall and spring semester so that you can learn from the schools. And they might even do some transfer fairs as well. So yeah, making sure that you guys do take advantage of all of that. Okay. I think I've gone through everything that I wanted to go through, but now I want to go ahead and give our guest panel their time to give you guys advice and some strategies from their experience as well as their expertise as an admission rep. So Paige, Fatima, and Travis, can you guys go ahead and turn on your cameras? Yay. Okay. So I'm going to just ask you guys a couple of questions, and then we'll leave it towards the end for our guests to ask any more. I guess, Fatima, do you want to go ahead and share a little bit about your transfer story and where you are right now? Oh,
Sure.
I think you're.
So I went to Irvine Valley College, and when I was in high school, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I applied to community college. And one of the things that I did do was my first semester at IVC, I enrolled in a career exploration class. And I'm really glad I did because it helped me learn more about myself. I didn't know what major I wanted to do. So by learning about myself and more about my personality, I was able to see like what major was going to fit, was more of a better fit for me. So that professor that I took the class with is actually a counselor. So she encouraged us to meet with her, after class and throughout the semester and throughout her whole journey there at IVC. So I did. I met with her while I was enrolled in her class, and I kept meeting with her after I took her class. I would see her at least twice a semester, and I'm really glad I did because she actually helped me apply for a scholarship, and she helped me transfer to Cal State Fullerton. I was still a little bit lost when I was in community college. I didn't know that at 60 units, you're eligible to transfer. So one day she told me, she's like, hey, you're ready to transfer. And I was like, oh, so that was a surprise for me. But she really helped me a lot because I was scared. I was scared to transfer to Cal State Fullerton or to the university after college. So she did a lot of explaining, and she really guided me through. So I would really recommend to take a career exploration class because you will learn, especially if you don't really know what major you want to do, you learn about yourself, and then you're able to see where you want to go from there.
Sorry, my mic was on mute. Paige, can you go ahead and share a little bit about your transfer story, and how you got, yourself to where you are at University of Oregon?
So I pretty much all through high school, I knew that I was going to go to Saddleback just because my older brother went and both my parents got their AAs from there, or their associates from there. And then when I was like a senior and everyone was applying to colleges, I kind of got, I was like, I feel like I need to go to like a 4-year because I did not want to go to Saddleback. I thought it was like I was going to get stuck there. So I signed myself up for like the ACT and the SAT and like applied to all these schools. I only got into half of the schools that I applied to. And I was going to go to Cal State San Marcos, but I didn't really want to settle because I knew that I didn't want to go there. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll go to Saddleback. And then I went and I ended up really liking it. And it gave me a lot more time to figure out what I wanted to do because what I wanted to do when I was in high school was a lot different than what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So it definitely gave me time to make that decision and finally land on, what I'm doing now, which is studying like general social sciences to become a teacher.
Awesome.
And about a year and a half into being at Saddleback, I was really itching to get out. And I started going to my transfer counselors, which I did a little too late. I will admit that.
Okay.
But
thank you for being honest.
Yeah, I really wished I went to my transfer counselors a lot earlier on. So when I went, I was very discouraged. I was like, I thought I was going to be able to transfer to all these schools. Like I thought I was going to be able to get in. But then they were like, no, like you still, you have a lot left to do. And then I was like, I have a few friends up here. And they were like, you ever think about coming to the University of Oregon? I was like, no, not really. So I was like into it, and it was just like it was literally like the perfect timing for everything. I went to my transfer counselor in November, and she said that I could go as soon as January.
Yeah, they were very flexible.
And I got in, and then 2 months later, I was on a plane going here. So
Awesome. Great. Well, for the both of you guys, can you just sort of, what was my next question? What are some things that you think are helpful to know if you start off at a community college? What would you tell high school students right now? What should they know earlier on and how to prepare them?
I would really encourage you guys to use the Writing Center and the Math Center, like Naomi mentioned earlier. It's a free resource. I did struggle a little bit with writing and English, and it really helped me, so I really took advantage of that. You could get a tutor, but why get a tutor when you can get those services for free at your community college?
Yeah.
Another thing is your counselor can also help you apply to scholarships. So that's important as well. I didn't even think about scholarships, but my counselor told me like, hey, you should really apply to a scholarship. And she helped me apply to a scholarship. So if you ask your counselor, I'm sure they're more than happy to help you how to apply to scholarships.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think just there are so many scholarships out there. I think students sometimes feel like, well, if I'm going through a community college route, then there aren't any there for me. But there are random majors, for talents, for interests, for your GPA. So don't hesitate into definitely asking. If you don't ask, you'll never know.
Mm-hmm. And then also just take advantage of all the centers they have, like the transfer center, or even like the health office. You have a lot of free resources, so why not? And I would encourage you to take advantage. Actually, those centers want you to go to them, so don't be shy. Don't be shy to outreach for help and ask questions.
Great, thank you. How about you, Paige? What kind of advice would you give?
I would say definitely talk to people who have gone through Saddleback. I know that just by talking to a lot of people that had transferred was a huge help in learning their personal experience. Another thing would be to get involved. I was on the Associated Student Union, which is like ASB, but for like the college level.
Oh, awesome.
I met a lot of older people who were like in their transfer, like they were, at their end of Saddlebacks, they were going through all that and like telling me, giving me advice and stuff. And another thing that was huge is do your math at IVC. My brother is like way smarter than me at math, and he failed 2 math classes at Saddleback. And I know so many people who have struggled with math at Saddleback. I've always been really bad at math, so I was really nervous. But I ended up taking pre-calculus at IVC and passing with a B, which was like huge. So I tell all of my friends that go to Saddleback, like, do your math at IVC. Like, that is the one thing that I advise.
Yeah, I think that, if you are struggling with the math, like I said, getting free tutoring, just a side note it's actually easy. If you go to Saddleback, since I went to Saddleback and I went to Irvine Valley too, they're sister schools. So it's very easy to pick your classes from either Saddleback or Irvine Valley. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for that. I'm going to ask Travis a question, but as I'm asking Travis a question, parents or students that are out there, if you guys have questions for our guest panel or me, please go ahead and start asking them in the chat box so that we can start answering them. That would be awesome. Travis, can you just share, other things that students should do in their first 2 years at a community college to stand out, like for UCLA or some other highly competitive schools?
Well, for any of the UCs, especially UCLA, UC Berkeley, and UC San Diego, the most essential component of your application is going to be minimum eligibility and major preparation. So you need to complete, and you referenced this earlier, your 2 English courses and your math courses as soon as possible. Especially at UCLA, we tend to prioritize students who have that completed by the fall prior to transferring. So again, that's something you should emphasize when you're planning your course schedule. And then major preparation, and a student asked this earlier, if major is a component in our selection process, and it certainly is. And some majors are more selective than others, and they also have much more major preparation than others. So for example, if you're applying to sociology, all you have to take in order to have sufficient major preparation is intro to Soc and statistics, whereas with engineering, there's about 11 courses you need to complete. So
Okay.
make sure you're aware of what your major preparation is and that you're completing it as soon as possible. The other recommendations I would have is, again, enrolling in the honors program and completing it, and being receptive to different majors, because, again, some are more competitive than others. In order to be admitted to business econ, you need to have a 4.0, generally speaking, at the community college level, whereas with other majors like English, you could be admitted with a 3.6. So there are different ways of traversing career path. You don't necessarily need to be in a business-oriented major to eventually matriculate into business as your career path. So just be receptive to different majors as you're traversing the transfer process.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Travis, same, I brought up like getting involved in extracurriculars. How important is that for UCLA and other UC schools?
It's a distinguishing factor. For UCLA, the academics are the most important things when we're evaluating transfer students. But anything that you can accomplish recreationally outside of the classroom, in clubs at Saddleback College, or part-time jobs. We have a lot of non-traditional students who have parenting obligations. So anything that you can do outside of the classroom is going to distinguish you from applicants who don't have that same participation. So I think that's...
Yeah, no, great. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, I'm going to go through the questions real quick. Deborah asked, when should a student see a transfer counselor at a community college? I think you want to have a good practice of seeing them every semester. That's like, I believe Paige says she wished she saw her counselor sooner. I thought the same thing. I wish I saw them sooner, ask more questions, come prepared with questions. I think that's really important. Otherwise, you're feeling like, oh gosh, my appointment wasn't as, effective. Paige and Fatima, do you have suggestions about how often you should see a transfer counselor?
Yeah, I would say at least once a semester. I used to go at least twice, but just because she was my professor and I built a close relationship with her. And sometimes I would just go talk to her about, like personal things. So she was really good about that too. And then one other thing too that I just want to add on. So when you build your map with them, they help you pick classes, and they usually pick classes for you that they think you might excel in, but you don't always have to take those classes. For example, for me, my counselor's like, oh, you should take Spanish. But I decided not to take Spanish because I already speak Spanish. So I thought it was going to be boring. So I ended up taking ASL, American Sign Language. So you don't always have to pick the classes that your counselor maps out for you. You can pick your own, as long as it's still in the requirement section.
Okay, thank you. Great. Lisa, just to give you a note, Paige, she said it was so helpful for Paige about what you didn't work well. It's so helpful to hear from Paige about what didn't work well or what was overlooked. Thanks, Paige. Thank you, Lisa. Karen, missed the first 15 minutes. Yes, we will be sharing this webinar recording as well as the PowerPoint slide. I'll be sending it out sometime tomorrow. As long as you guys register, I'll be emailing it to you guys. Okay, Finnegan, what will the Saddleback counselor at my high school be able to help me out with when I'm a senior? So if you are interested, they can talk to you about general information just about your academic plans, your career plans. If you are interested in going into the Saddleback Promise program, they can help you sign up for Counseling 100, helping you register for your classes. Skylar, when Paige said doing math at IVC, would it be easier than Saddleback? Will I be able to later transfer to IVC after I attend Saddleback? Yes. So Saddleback and Irvine Valley College, they are sister schools. So it should be very easy for you guys to go back and forth between those. Like I said, I did that for myself, and I think that is another reason why I was able to transfer within 2 years, because I was very open and flexible about taking classes that were available. So if a class wasn't free during the afternoon as what I wanted, I looked at Irvine Valley to see if there was the same class that was offered at a different time. So I would say just being flexible could help you out in terms of helping you transfer. Okay, let's see. Grace asked, what good courses that a high school student can take during the summer? Again, for Grace, if you aren't so sure what you want to do, I believe they have a lot of those career counseling courses. Fatima and Paige, did you guys take any summer courses at a community college?
Not the summer after high school, but I did take summer courses, and it's helpful because it just kind of speeds up the process into transferring and acquiring credits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the same year I did the same thing. I made sure that I had an idea of what I wanted. So again, that golden 4 for a Cal State, I knew Cal State's was going to be definitely one of my options. So you can take like your communication class, a math class. If you end up not being able to be eligible to go into a transferable English and math right away, taking those prereq courses could be helpful so that it can, again, help you to transfer out sooner rather than later. All right. Lisa asked, what is the best way to find out about impacted majors? Travis, did you want to sort of talk about UC schools?
I mean, for UCLA specifically, you can identify what is considered a highly selective major online. Generally speaking, any of the specialty schools at UCLA are going to be highly selective majors. So engineering, theater, film, television, arts and art, things like that. And then if you just Google online, profile of admitted transfer students UCLA, any major with a red asterisk next to it is considered a highly selective major and is thus more competitive to be admitted to.
Thank you. And I think I'm trying to give you guys a link. Let's see if I can grab it. Yeah, there's another link. I think it's called UC Transfers by Major. So again, I'll try to send that out to you guys in my email. You guys can use that. Cal States will do the same thing. Cal States will actually show you on there's a whole page called impacted majors, and you guys could click on that. But again, remember, it definitely will vary from year to year. So just wait. You should also just sort of check in as you are applying to the schools. Okay. Laura asked, if you complete the 60 units before 2 years, can you transfer to a UC in winter or spring quarters?
At some institutions like Merced, they do offer spring admits. At UCLA, you can only apply for the fall, and for the vast majority of the UCs, you can only apply for the fall. So there are some exceptions with some of the less selective campuses, but generally speaking, you can only apply for the fall.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. Lisa asked, does new adversity score play a part in transferring? Not exactly. Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is. Could you elaborate, Lisa?
Yeah, Lisa, can you elaborate on that? I don't know what that is either. But okay, we are at 6:42. Paige and Fatima, was there any other things that you wanted to share? I know that we sort of got thrown off by these questions, but yeah, I just wanted to see, what would be your recommendations of helping students figure out, their major or keeping up with the workload? Did you recommend taking a full 12 units? Do you see yourself, was it easy for you to take on 12 units or more, or you actually felt like you needed to take on less to be, successful and get the best grades that you could for yourself?
For me, it was easy to take 12 units each semester just because in high school you take 5-6 classes.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely during summer, I wouldn't recommend to take more than 2 classes just because it's a shorter time period, so everything's crunched in more. So, but if you want to do summer, go ahead. It does help you transfer faster, but don't take more than 2 courses. And like Naomi mentioned, if you're working or you're doing other activities apart from school, make sure that you are balancing yourself. You don't want to take too many courses and then not be able to excel in them or get good grades. And then don't be shy. I was very shy in community college, but definitely talking to the counselor made me be a little bit less shy and get to know yourself. I recommend really taking the career exploration course. It will definitely help you a lot.
Great, thank you. Paige, any last thoughts? Paige might be frozen. I think with the Lisa question, adversity score has been in the news when it comes to college admissions beyond SAT scores.
I am not familiar with whatever that term entails.
I think I know. I might know, Lisa, what you're talking about, where SAT College Board are bringing in some stats within their scores, but it should be only shared between the colleges. But that's what I'm hearing. But that is really new to us, and so as of right now, I don't believe colleges are going to be looking at that. They're going to be looking at the GPA, the rigor of the students' courses. Sorry, Paige, you got cut off, but it looks like you're back. Your final thoughts before we end and we close out? No? Okay, so I think that is all. Unless you guys have any more questions, I'll stay around. But thank you so much, Fatima, Paige, and Travis, for staying here and just giving us your insight and your experience. So we have one question. Sorry, Travis, for you. What are the prereqs for high school for getting into an honors program? Oh, the TAP UCLA program.
Mm-hmm. So it varies on the community college, but generally speaking, out of high school, it's a 3.2 unweighted GPA in order to be admitted to the honors program, and several essays that you have to submit in conjunction with your application. So it's relatively easy to be admitted to. It's just the 5 or 6 courses that you kind of have to integrate into your academic plan. That's not necessarily complicated, but what you have to do in order to complete it.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much. You guys could go ahead and head out. For my audience, I do have a couple more things to give you guys, but thank you guys so much, and you guys have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
You too.
So I have some more stuff from Saddleback, 7 Steps to Success for Transfer.